We match tonight, Jeff.
There we go.
You two do.
Leah, how are you? Long time no see.
I'm fabulous, darling. It's so good to see you.
Can't wait till we get in-person meetings again.
I know. Won't that be fun?
No, not there.
Regan is far away from our Tri-City area.
Looks like Sound of Music.
It does, but it might surprise you to know this was over on the Olympics, a hike I did.
Oh, awesome.
Oh.
Yep. That's Hurricane Ridge, actually.
Yeah.
Yep. And I got that mountain goat in there. I have to get to the side so you can see it, but it was beautiful.
Looks like he's wearing a collar.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
They must be tracked.
Yeah, they're non-native to Olympic. So the Park Service is actually thinking about relocating them or actually removing them. So.
Oh, well, I'm glad I saw it when I did.
Yeah, exactly.
So did you put them there, Sean? Is that why they're there?
I did not. No,
Oh.
They were put in like in the very early ages of the park for people that wanted to hunt them on the peninsula. So, yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Well, it sure is beautiful with that
Yeah.
backdrop up there, watching that thing just wander through the fields. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're it's not the animals' fault. You know, they're just doing what they're doing. So.
Wow, it's good to see some familiar faces.
Tammy,
Melissa.
how's your finger? I saw your Facebook of you cutting your finger almost off.
My finger is sore, and I had 7 stitches put in.
Oh,
right? But so now I'm at the emergency room with my husband who has stomach pain. So I'm in Maple Valley with him right now.
oh my gosh, Tammy.
It's fun in
One
our
thing to
house.
another. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, but my finger will be okay. It's just, I just cut it right over the top of the knuckle. Oh.
I actually did that to myself today, maybe 10 minutes ago.
What?
But, you know, I mean, probably not 7 stitches, to be clear.
Oh.
I got
Did you
2
get it?
stitches in my right index finger when I was a kid, which is funny because I was using a knife and cutting wood, and I cut my right hand, and I'm right-handed. My dad yelled at me for 3 weeks to never use my left hand use a knife with my left hand again.
I learned a lesson.
I haven't done it in almost 30 years, so there we go.
Well, it's a good lesson to not, cut towards you, and to make sure your other hand is out of the way.
Was it an avocado?
No, it's
What I always do. Love it.
Jeff, is that a farm you're on right now? What's that background you got?
54%.
That's Covington Community Park.
Okay, I thought it was something in Enumclaw. I wanted to make sure we were in the same place. So, okay, thanks.
I'd rather be here.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
May I say, Mr. Kelly, I believe you have shed about 7 years. How? Is it the haircut?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yep.
I was going to say not having to be at in-person meetings is what's done it for him, but
Hasn't done it for all of us, so.
Yeah. We'll talk some line. We're not being recorded.
I don't know. I heard her when I came on. This meeting is being recorded.
Hey, gang.
Reagan, how are you, sir?
How are
Good
you?
to see you.
I
How's
call
my mayor?
this meeting to order. Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
Flag
of
of the United States of America
and to
to
the
the
republic for which it
which
stands,
it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all.
So in lieu of the roll call, we're going to introduce each one of our council members, and they can just unmute themselves and wave and say present. So I'll start with Melissa Oglesby. That's our Mayor Pro Tem. Melissa.
Hi, thank you, Carol. Like she said, Melissa Oglesby. She introduced herself, so yeah, nice to see everybody. Good to see some familiar faces. Can't wait to see everybody in person again. So yeah, hi.
So Tammy Didi.
Yep. So Tammy Didi, Black Diamond City Council member. I've been on the council for 10 years, and I'm happy that we're all back, at least on Zoom, to start doing these meetings again.
Chris Wisnowski.
Yeah, hi, everybody. Chris Wisnowski, Black Diamond City Council. I know I've met a handful of you. Good to see you all again. You did it virtually.
Lee Mulvihill.
Hey, guys. It's good to see a lot of you again.
Christiana De Leon.
Hey, everybody, and thank you for coming and attending today. Position 5, Black Diamond.
Bernie O'Donnell.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you tonight. This is my first Tri-City meeting, and what a bunch of good-looking people. So I look forward to talking to all of you guys.
Debbie Page.
Good evening, everyone. One of the newly minted Black Diamond City Council people with a total of 55 days under my belt. So thank you all for being here. And like Bernie, it's my first time here and I'm excited. Thank you.
So Jeff, would you like to introduce your council?
Certainly. I'm Jeff Wagner. I am the mayor of Covington, 18 years on council, I think, right along with Linda Johnson from Maple Valley. Sean Smith.
I'm Sean Smith. I'm the mayor pro tem here in Covington. I've been on the council since 2015. Hi, everyone. Good to see you.
Thank you, Sean. Christina.
Hi, folks. Christina Soltis here, Covington City Council, and I started on 1/1/2020, and what a surprise it was.
Thank you, Christina. Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Harjahausen. I've been on council for a couple of years, and it's fabulous to finally see a lot of you again.
Thank you, Jennifer. Is Jared here tonight?
Yep, I'm here. Nice to see you guys all again. Hopefully, we get to do this in person soon.
Thank you, Jared. Joe.
Hi, everyone. Joe Simomo, Covington City Council. I've been on council going on 8 years now, and it's been a wild ride, and I'm really excited that we have these meetings, and wish it was in person, but it's great to see a lot of you again.
Thank you, Joe. And Beth, are you here? There you are, Beth.
I am. Thank you. Hi, Elizabeth Porter. I go by Beth. So I was appointed to council last August of 2020. So fairly new to the role. Excited to be here. Can't wait to meet everybody in person sometime.
Sean, would you like to introduce your council?
I would be honored to. Thank you, Mayor Benson. Maple Valley City Council, Council Member Reagan Dunn. Oh, never mind. He's not Maple Valley.
He's in Covington.
I know. I heard. We're going to deal with that later. Anyways, Council Member Linda Olson.
Hi, Linda Olson. I've been on Maple Valley City Council for almost 4 years now, and I'm loving every minute of it. It's so good to see all of you.
Thank you, Councilor Olson. Councilor Les Burberry.
Hi, Councilor Les Burberry, Maple Valley. 6 years on council and enjoying it. Great folks to work with.
Thank you, Councilor Burberry. the one, the legend, the one that's been on the screen longest besides Mayor Wagner, Linda Johnson. I saw her earlier. Linda, you here? Uh-oh. Linda Johnson, you here? Hey, Laura Philpott, can you get somebody track down Linda Johnson, please? Okay, we'll move on to Councillor Aaron Weaver.
Hi, Aaron Weaver. I've been on council for, this is my 12th year, and it's a pleasure to be meeting with all of you again tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Weaver. Councillor Sid Dawson.
Good evening. I've been on the council, I think, about 3 years or so now. I do have a question for Reagan Boley. I'm impressed with your suit, but I'm trying to figure out where the mountain goats live in Covington.
You haven't seen those?
No, I've kind of missed those.
Yeah, that's a transplant from the Olympic National Park right there.
I think they took, well, okay, so they took them all out and left one in Covington?
That's right.
Thank you, Councillor Dawson. Deputy Mayor Dana Pernello.
Hey everybody, Dana Pernello. I would have to ask our city clerk how long I've been on council. I don't know. 10 years, something like that.
Yeah. Thank you,
nice
Deputy
to see
Mayor
everybody.
Yep, thank you, Deputy Pernello. And Sean Kelly, I've been on council now for 9 years. It's been an honor. Every day I look forward to it. The best thing is the partnerships we have with 3 cities. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So we didn't have a Tri-Cities meeting last year. And so I'm glad that we could do one on Zoom. I'm pretty sure that we'll get to do one in person next year. And so I just want to welcome you all and glad we could at least do this. Reagan Dunn has been really good to all 3 of our cities, and we are honored to have him come and talk to us today. And I just wanted to let you know that he has 15 minutes to give his presentation, and then he has to leave. So if you have questions after he leaves, you can email him subsequent to his presentation. So Councilmember Dunn.
Hey, thank you, Mayor Benson. I appreciate you having me. It's always a privilege to come before this group of cities, unique in my experience in the county, where 3 cities actually take the time to meet together to talk about their common interrelations and planning for the future. And, you know, Covington, Black Diamond, and Maple Valley are essentially an urban island in a sea of unincorporated, except for that little connection through Kent. And so it makes your challenges unique and different. And my job as your county council member is to really work with all of you to represent your interests to our regional government and make sure that we have the infrastructure, roads, utilities, and other features in place to service your citizens and your constituents. Anyway, I wanted to thanks again for having me. I was sorry we couldn't do our meeting last year, but it's been a real challenge, as you know, but we will be again together next year. Let's go ahead and move to the PowerPoint. Go ahead and pull that up, Brenda, if you can. Carol, can you see that?
Yeah, I saw it for a minute and it disappeared. Brenda, I think something happened to it.
It was on its way up. While Brenda's pulling it up, I want to just do an introduction of it so that you can see this. We are going to talk a little bit about the safety of our community and crime trends and funding trends. Why don't you go ahead and move to the next slide? That looks good. If you can. There we go. So, you know, I think we need to, my job is to share with you a lot of information. Let me show you some info on regional trends that I'm concerned about. There's been a really serious, dramatic increase in violent crimes during the last year, 2 years, including a spike in gun violence and a record number of homicides. So over the last 2 years, homicides have spiked 86%, which is a significant increase. Firearm violence also rose significantly, as well as other felonies, which are on the rise. the highest crime we have seen in our county since 1992 per capita. So there are some changes that are significant that I want to draw your attention to. Next slide, please. Part of the problem, not all of it, part of the problem is that there's been a dramatic reduction in policing, not just in King County, in unincorporated King County, of course, but in a number of the cities, particularly Seattle, nearly 250 officers there. And there's been a substantial and slow systematic reduction in King County Sheriff's Office employees. About 40% have been cut since 2008, about 35% reduction in law enforcement services that have gone down as well. So, and you'll see that in the Great Recession, there was a substantial reduction as well as a big one here last year as well. Next slide, please. This is an interesting slide I wanted you all to see. This is the vote from Charter Amendments 5, which was approved countywide by the voters in the November election. And it asked the King County Council with the duties of appointing the new sheriff, as well as oversight roles, policy oversight, and funding oversight over the King County Sheriff's Office. They both those amendments failed overwhelmingly in District 9. The yellow is Charter Amendment 5 failing. The brown is it passing. So you'll see what happened is essentially the suburban and rural areas voted no, but the denser urban areas voted yes. And that's what created a passage rate of about 55%. Next slide, please. The other challenge that we're facing is that our criminal justice system is really backlogged. There's a variety of reasons for it. One is that there's so much more criminal activity. A second reason is that COVID had initially slowed down the court system's ability to process defendants. And then another reason yet again is that the Blake decision required some 5,000 felony cases to be resentenced that were based on drug-related criminal offender scores. And so right now, the court system is facing an unprecedented backlog we haven't ever seen before that's going to take a while to get worked through. And the challenge here is that the system, the court system will put its priority on handling the criminal activity. And it means it's going to have to pull resources off things like family law cases, divorce cases, adoption cases, the civil system, your various, lawsuits, torts, breach of contract, the things that we do to keep our business systems running. And so that's one of the great challenges that we're facing right now as well. Let's go ahead and hit the next slide. The prosecuting attorney's office has, again, also a problem. So all areas of the pipeline of justice, so to speak, are really backed up. 50,000 defendants, again, I said 5, excuse me, I meant 50,000 are now entitled to a vacation of their conviction. And so there's a Senate bill that requires resentencing of a defendant who was sentenced to life, sentenced as a persistent offender. That is a change. And so there is a lot of very interesting challenges within the system getting bottlenecked up. Next slide, please. So yesterday, the county voted on the largest ever supplemental budget, $631 million COVID, what we call COVID-7 supplemental budget. We usually do one budget every 2 years, which is about a $12.5 billion biennial budget. We have done that. We did that in the fall, but we've also done 7 supplemental budgets of some significant size, and we're scheduled to do at least 2 more. So we've done, that's going to be about 9 budgets in the course of a year when we usually do just 1. So we've been busy, really busy, and I'm on the budget leadership team and represent the only rural suburban district that is on that leadership team. So what made it through the budget, some good news there, some behavioral health funding of various kinds, addiction recovery, that sort of thing. fair amount of rental assistance for housing supports and tenants and landlords, which is good. Food assistance, as well as culturally appropriate food, grants for emerging community needs, and I've reached out to many of you in terms of what you needed to see in your communities as well. But what was left out, and I should be very candid, I voted against the budget because none of these core services that we provide, sheriff, prosecutor, courts, any kind of a correction system, even public defender's office, weren't touched in any meaningful way at all. And there was a lot of what I'd call pork moving through the system, or special interest money that went through the system that caused me some concern. So I sent a message with my no vote, whether you agree with it or not, that COVID-8 better have the money we need to take care of the problems that I just showcased in this PowerPoint, because it's getting very serious and I'm concerned. Survey data comes back just the other day that shows that 35% or more than a third of our population feel either less safe or much less safe in their community. And that's a very substantial swing. So anyway, I don't often vote against budgets. I have in the past before, but I felt that there was a need for the folks in downtown Seattle to take these issues much more seriously. And I hope that they do. So I think that's the last slide, if there's not another one. So anyway, Mayor Benson and council members and mayors, I just wanted you to know kind of what we're dealing with. It's clearly the top issue that I'm seeing for constituencies, particularly on unincorporated King County. And you can make a judgment on what you're seeing within your cities. But I always appreciate the chance to come before you. Appreciate the leadership that you all show. As Sean was alluding to, I was briefly in Maple Valley, again, renting it. And then now my wife and I, late last winter, bought a home in Covington. And they spend lots of money at the Home Depot there, Mr. Wagner, trying to build your tax base, as I was making the pink walls white and the green carpet, hardwood floors, and all the good stuff. But anyway, I'm glad to be in Covington. I'm right by the Maple Valley border, just east of the Home Depot. You know where that is. So, and so the politicians need to fix those roads. I got to do something about that. There's a lot of traffic there, so fix it. Anyway, thanks for having me, and I appreciate the chance to be here.
Thank you, Councilmember Dunn. And if somebody has questions, be sure and email him after our meeting tonight. He'll be glad to answer you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. So next up on the agenda is our council presentations. So I'm going to share my screen for Black Diamond's presentation. And so this is the same presentation I give to the chamber every year, and the same thing with last year. I didn't give a presentation. I think that Maple Valley did, but I did not. And so anyway, this is a photo by Craig Goodwin that used to be on our council, and he passed away last year in a hiking accident. So we're going to have a celebration of life for him in August. So this is our city council, and it includes
Carol, you're not sharing yet.
Oh, you can't see it? Oh, okay, just hold on a minute. Brenda, for some reason, the PowerPoint went away. Did you have it up?
I'm trying to pull it up right now, Mary. Give you a second.
Okay. So if you could go to the next slide. So this shows all of our new council members. So as Tammy said, she's been on council for 10 years, and Melissa has been on for 4 years. Chris Wisnowski has been appointed several times for council. Lee Mulvihill has just recently been appointed. She used to be on the council several years ago, and she decided to come back, which was good. Christiana De Leon is in her second year, and Bernie O'Donnell was appointed, and Debbie Page was appointed. Next slide, please. So anyway, our population has grown from the mid 4,000s or to the lower 4,000s to 5,205. And we have not seen the new numbers from the Department of Commerce that would have been from last year. The population should be coming out here soon, but we have not seen that yet. Next slide, please. So anyway, we passed a $26.8 million budget for 2021. We currently have 39 employees, and COVID has had a lot of impact on our city in different ways, but we haven't had a lot of significant revenue decreases because we don't rely heavily on sales tax, and our property tax stays pretty much the same, and our sales tax revenue has gone up because of all the building going on in 10 Trails. Next slide, please. And we're lucky to have a good emergency management. Kevin Esping used to be with our police force, and he's now our facilities employee, and he was really good in going out and getting us everything we needed at the very beginning, because it was very hard to get. And he has been coordinating with Covington and Maple Valley on all of our needs so that everybody has enough resources to pay for everybody. Next slide, please. And then last year, we were lucky to have a piece of property donated to the city, and we're working on with a consultant. We received a $5,000 grant, and we just recently received another $5,000 grant. So we're going to continue doing some public outreach on finding out what people want to see at this site. We did a survey, so we're going to be moving on this year with trying to figure out what we could do to get this site actually active. It's right next to the museum, and it's kind of a little gravel patch that's been used in the past for events, but we're going to try to make it some kind of a covered venue that people can have picnics and just be outdoors where it's safe. Next slide. Part of the development agreement for Oak Point was that they had to construct a fire station, and they decided that instead of constructing one in 10 Trails, where they already have a fire station that can service 10 Trails, they decided to build it up on Lawson Hills. And so anyway, this is the artist rendering. We're in the process of getting the final drawings done and expect to start construction either late this year or next year. Next slide, please. And this is the, did you miss a slide? I think there's a fire engine in there somewhere. Huh. Well, anyway, we're getting a new fire engine. It's going to be delivered in the end of June, and it takes 2 or 3 months to put it in service. And so it will be housed probably in the new fire station. And we're really looking forward to being able to have found the impact fees to be able to pay for a new fire engine and have funds to be able to pay for the city's portion of it. So this is kind of the master plan development today. We have quite a few houses. Next slide. So as of February, there were 429 homes that were occupied in 10 trails. There's several more now, and we have 176 apartment units, and 2 of those units that are 12 each are now occupied, fully tenanted. And so anyway, we have been growing a lot, and it shows that we started building in 2019, and we have building a little bit more every year. Right now, in January and February this year, it was a little bit slow. So we'll see what the year has to bring, since we know that there's a lot going on in the construction world right now, and wood is extremely expensive, and they're having a hard time getting their packages for their homes. So hopefully they will continue growing this year, and but they've been busy. Next slide. So anyway, we have some traffic improvements. We already did this, realigned the State Route 169 and Roberts Drive. It was a real challenge to us to try to get the roundabouts approved by the Washington State Department of Transportation. And so this is an interim improvement. We have now gotten the roundabouts approved to be on Roberts Drive and 169. So this year we're going to start work on the stormwater vaults that will have to be constructed before the roundabout is built. And then we have some other projects. We have 216th and 288 that we have to improve an intersection, and 216th and Southeast Covington Sawyer Road that we're going to improve that intersection, and State Route 169 and Lawson Hills that needs to be improved. Next slide. And we were really lucky this year that last year we had the flood control district come out to look at the weir and decide if they were interested in managing the weir. In the meantime, they looked at the culverts, and we had gotten a grant to rehab the culverts, but we couldn't get a grant to build a bridge. And so she said, well, if you have the plans and you turn them over to us, we'll get that bridge built for you. So anyway, we've got on their capital improvement plan, and so they awarded us $2.295 million to build that bridge. And we're working on the construction plans right now, and the bridge construction will start next year. Next slide. So we're doing rehabs of our springs. So our water up until a couple of years ago all came from our springs. And we have been working with the Department of Health and other departments to get our plans approved to improve the springs, the pump station, and we should have it done in the next couple of years. But we also need to replace some old asbestos water lines and put in new water lines. So on all of the springs construction, in order for them to build and have capacity, it's been funded by the developers, and then they get credit for it after the project is done and that homes are being built. Next slide. And then we got a grant from the Department of Ecology for aquatic invasive plant control. And I had a really fun time working with the Department of Ecology. So I worked with the state or the county Department of Ecology. I think you covered up my screen. Thank you. Anyway, I worked with the King County Department of Ecology to apply for the grant because we were so busy at the city that we didn't have anybody to do that. So it was a really interesting experience. I got to work with King County and SharePoint to apply for this federal grant. And we applied for, it was almost $100,000 and they gave us 50% of it. But we will be moving forward on this project and getting quotes for people to do the work, for the contractor to do the work. And so sometime later this summer, we're going to do this weed control project with invasive water lilies and milfoil. And the people on the lake are extremely in support of this because the infestation has been getting larger. So next slide. Oh, I think that's it. That's the last one. So anyway, we've just been really busy with lots of projects and we're just hiring people every day. When I first went to work in the city as a mayor in 2015, we had like 30 employees. So we just can't hire enough people. So Jeff, did you want to do Covington's presentation or start it?
I am going to let our illustrious city manager, Regan Boley, do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will share my screen here. Everybody see that? All right. I think we're good to go. Well, Carol, thanks so much. It's so awesome to see what's happening everywhere. Super cool to see all the amazing things happening in Black Diamond. I know Maple Valley's hopping as well as Covington, and how cool that we all get to be part of this tremendous growth and the things happening in our area. So I will start here. Obviously, 2020 was a crazy year, a lot different than what we would expect or anticipate. COVID-19, it hit us. It happened a lot. I think a lot of this is what happened in all of our cities, closing City Hall. We froze expenditures, put a hiring freeze in place, temporary layoffs, and a lot of things that we had to do to help mitigate the harmful effects that could have happened to us through that. We dedicated a web page for COVID news and resources for our residents and our businesses to access all the information they need to be able to navigate everything that was happening. We also hosted several free mask giveaway events. We gave out thousands of masks to community members and businesses, funded $130,000, just over that, in small business grants. It was really helpful to our local businesses. And then the council did some really great things with the CARES Act funds that we received, funding for Vine Maple Place, the storehouse, and a lot of past due utility payments that helped a lot of people. We were also able to set up, as a lot of you are aware, a first responder COVID-19 testing site at our old Covington Elementary School site. And that ran for several months all throughout last year. So let me turn to Karma a little bit. If you haven't been introduced to Karma, let me introduce you. Karma the Chameleon is Covington City Ambassador, does great work around the community. Last year helped promote masking up and sanitizing and staying safe. Did a lot of partnerships with the Chamber of Commerce, involved in ribbon cuttings and business openings and things like that. We also, Karma kind of starred in a Covington Has video spot. It was a commercial that we did on streaming TV channels, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then also served as the spokesperson for our Ready, Set, Play program. That is the program that replaced our old Play Unplugged. Did a great job there. And then if you're not following Karma on Instagram, you can go do that at Covington Karma and follow everything that Karma's up to around the community. So the Shop Local video I talked about was a really great partnership between the Chamber and the city. the point of it was to showcase what Covington has to offer. While you're here, stay here, and here's what we have for you. And it highlighted 13 small businesses that were affected heavily by COVID, and it had just almost 350,000 impressions on streaming media, which is amazing. It surpassed what our expectations were. So I'll go ahead and play that here. So a really cool opportunity that we played throughout the holidays. Again, got a ton of interaction and hopefully helped out our businesses. We're going to continue on with the momentum of that, the Covington Has theme, and do some other commercial spots and do more with that this coming year. So we're excited about that. I briefly mentioned Ready, Set, Play, which is a super cool program. The kids love it. It used to be Play Unplugged. I know several of you have heard about that. Where businesses sponsor a badge and the kids go out and do this great activity in the outdoors and get out there and do something active. And then they go to that business and collect the badge. So even in COVID-19, we thought, how's this going to work? And we met with our chamber, with our businesses, and they said, let's do it. We'll make it work. And so we had 25 businesses participate, which was awesome. And over 500 kids still participate, which was down a little bit from previous years, but that was to be expected. But it increased foot traffic into our businesses, which was awesome. But it was a two-pronged. It also got kids who were quarantined to get out and do some active things, and even gave them some active things that they could do in their own homes. So I'll turn now to some of our parks projects. We've got a lot going on and happening there. Our first is Jenkins Creek Park. That's our gem of a park right in the middle of town. We received a grant to the park we have is the access is horrible. And so finding a parking spot or being able to get there is really difficult. So having this property will really make this a wonderful place for our community to take a part in and explore that park. SoCo Park, that's our South Covington Park. It will be incorporated into our town center project. It's right across the street from the old Covington Elementary School on Wax Road. Last year, we purchased the third and final parcel to complete the land acquisition for that park. And all the funding so far for this has come through grants. So we're excited to get into design and get this happening. And then Eco Park's the new one you probably haven't heard of, or East Covington Park. It's right there where the star is on the map on your screen at the end of the lake there. This opportunity arose to buy just over 5 acres, and the council was really excited about adding this type of park to our inventory, and we were excited about it. We're able to use some park impact fees and made that happen really quick. So next steps are to get some planning and design going and have a really great park right there in that section of town. So art projects, this was still important, things that were rolling and going. We had a utility box wraps. We completed those last year. If you haven't seen those, they're really beautiful and add to the aesthetics as you're in Covington. And then the Covington Community Park container wrap. Our maintenance crew came to me and said, we need some storage out at CCP for our tools and whatnot that they use out there. Can we put a storage container in the park? I said, no way. Like, that is not happening in that beautiful park. And they kept pushing on it. And so I said, listen, if you could turn that into an art piece, then let's do it. So it got turned over to our Arts Commission, and they did what they do best. They bring great art to the community and got that to happen. So that was wonderful. And then we were also able to install Metamorphosis, our signature art piece at CCP. It's beautiful. If you've not seen it yet, it's worth the trip to check out. Really great piece that adds to the aesthetics of that park. Then in community development, this kind of surprised us. We didn't think we'd have quite the year that we had, but extremely busy year. In fact, record kind of breaking years. We moved all of our permitting to 100% online. We started doing building inspections virtually and just became much more nimble in how we operate. And we were able to get 187 new building permits issued, 247 new business licenses, and over 5,000 building inspections done last year, which were all increases from 2019. And our code enforcement issues dropped slightly last year over the prior year. And of course, our town center, something I think most of you are all familiar with. We're working on that. We've talked about it for years, and we're now seeing a lot of movement on it, which is super exciting. We're doing what's called a form-based code process right now, where we're evaluating really how we want our downtown core to develop and what those design guidelines should be that really turn this into something more than a big shopping center with a big parking lot, but that it's an experience that you come to. And so we were able to, as you know, we purchased that property. Last year, we were able to demolish the main part of the building, but we kept up the playground so kids could continue to use that. It's all grassed now where the buildings used to stand. And we also kept up the two newer buildings, which is where our police have now moved to. So they're no longer in City Hall, but that's their new police station there on Wax Road. And of course, our Lake Point projects, amazing project you all know of. We've talked in the past that this would be about 850,000 square feet of commercial space and 1,500 residential units. They submitted a request based on the interest that they're having from commercial businesses to increase that to just over 1.2 million square feet of commercial space and around 1,700 housing units. That's gone through the process, that's gone through all the environmental and went through Planning Commission, was approved there, and it will be before the Covington City Council on June 8th for them to consider. And then of course, road improvements and extension to really make that development happen are underway. So that leads us into our street projects, our Covington Connector, which will run right through the Lake Point development. We had a wonderful groundbreaking for that. We even had people involved virtually. And the phase 1 construction is underway. 204th is closed. And if you haven't had an opportunity, you can go to the city's YouTube channel and see some really cool drone footage of the project going on there. And it's kind of fun to see it from that perspective. We've also got funding to improve the Highway 18 and the Southeast 256 interchange that will go into Highway 18 on the opposite end of where 204th is. So we're excited about that. And then of course, our 516 widening from Jenkins Creek to 185th should go out to bid in June and have construction beginning in August. So excited to see those big projects coming to fruition. Public safety and police, I think the same in Covington as everywhere. It was kind of a crazy year. A lot of coordination in Covington to be able to address COVID issues and a lot of civil unrest that happened last year. We collaborated with the fire authority to get our COVID-19 testing center up and some other operations centers, and just collaborated a lot with homelessness issues and crime victim advocacy organizations to really help our most vulnerable, and then contribute to a lot of efforts to improve policing and police reform. So really grateful for our police department, the wonderful work they do. Stemming out of conversations the council had last year around race, they formed a new Equity, Cultural, and Social Justice Commission. The council so far has appointed 11 individuals to that, and it has up to 15 seats. They're doing a lot of great work already. They've been meeting this year, and super excited. It's a wonderful, diverse group that's excited about contributing in Covington. Communication obviously is essential and key, especially during a pandemic. In Covington, we saw a bit of a shift. We saw 123% increase to Facebook and 38% to Twitter, but our website visits were down a little bit. So we're possibly seeing that shift to social media. And then our Covington Connects portal, that's online or through an app where you can contact the city with any issues you may notice, had almost 900 submissions. And then we put our recreation guide 100% digital. So a lot of really great things happen. And even though it was a pandemic with ton of difficulties, there were silver linings, and we were able to adapt and I think create greater efficiencies in our organization. So wonderful year, a tremendous amount of work from city staff and our city council. They're so incredibly supportive, and just everybody worked hard to bring us through 2020 in a really great way. And I'm happy to answer any questions, Mayor Benson, if that's something you want to open up for.
Are we gonna have questions? Oh.
Councilmember De Leon.
Thank you. I was actually curious if you could speak a little bit more to the creation of the Equity and Social Justice Commission that you created.
Yeah, you bet. So the city council had that discussion. They decided that it was something that we needed in Covington, so that to make sure everybody's voice could be heard. It attracted a lot of diverse community members. And at this point right now, like I mentioned, there's 11 people that have been appointed, and the council isn't wanting to direct everything they do. The council wants to receive input from them. So right now the commission is working on really kind of creating their mission and the objectives that they want to accomplish in Covington, and then they'll bring those things as they have them to the council.
So Mayor Kelly, are you ready for your presentation?
Well, actually, she asked my question, so thank you very much, Stina, for that. I was just,
thank you.
I was curious if it was a citizen group or was it staff and council members, so that helped out a lot.
Yeah, citizen group, yep.
Okay, great. And well, I'm talking more about that on the side. And then I'm asking a question for a friend of mine. When's the movie theater going to open?
Tell your friend it's coming, right? But I think like all of us on this meeting know that to be able to pinpoint when a development's going to be completed is very difficult, especially when it hinges upon funding for a road that gets you to that development. So I would say, Sean, you'll probably start seeing some construction there in the next couple of years.
Okay, thank you.
How's that,
Carol? Did you hear that? I answered I asked the question.
Yeah. Now it's turn for Maple Valley.
Good evening. I'm Laura Philpott, City Manager for Maple Valley. And like Regan, I'm just so excited to hear all the great things that are happening around us in Southeast King County. So bear with me while I share my screen. So can you all see that okay?
Yes.
Great. I find my mouse. So, you know, I'll start out with just sharing, who we are. We aren't just staff, just council. We work as a team. It really is the city council, the staff, our boards and commissions and volunteers, as well as our community partners that make Maple Valley such a great place to live. So we feel really blessed with the team that we have. And let's see, I keep losing my mouse here. But 2020, like everybody has already mentioned, was a really tough year, as everyone knows, with COVID, but we feel like we have a lot of great things to celebrate. So I'm going to start with a little video about our farmers market. The squirrels think.
Hi, I'm Sean Kelly, the mayor of the city of Maple Valley. We're excited to open the Maple Valley Farmers Market, Saturday morning's place to be, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. here at the Legacy site. If you ever have any questions about anything, please go to the Farmers Market website or City Hall website, and we will get you the information you need. Again, looking forward to seeing you on Saturday mornings at the Maple Valley Farmers Market at our new location here, which is outstanding. Thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Laura Philpott, City Manager for the City of Maple Valley. I am so excited about our new farmers market. If you came out on opening day, thank you for being here. This is just amazing. Thank you to our vendors. Thank you to the board. If you haven't been out yet, you need to come by and check it out because this is just a one-of-a-kind site. I think it's going to be the best farmers market in the county. So look forward to seeing you Saturday. Farmers market is the place to be.
My name is Mark Hoban, President of the Maple Valley Farmers Market for the 2020 market season. I want to welcome you to this beautiful natural site, Maple Valley Legacy Site, and the home of the Maple Valley Farmers Market. Thank you for coming.
So yeah, the farmers market, we are just extremely proud of it. But that occurred on our legacy site, and our team was able to complete the design and construction in less than a year. During COVID, it activated the legacy site for the first time in 20 years. So it's not just about the farmers market. We have people using the trails. It's the home, the new home of the Maple Valley Nome community. It's just an amazing site if you haven't been out there. Other things to celebrate. One of the things that we really, the silver lining of COVID was we went through a phase where we had a really low traffic and we were able to complete some projects with some lower than normal traffic control budgets. But we completed our widening on 169 and we put in a traffic signal behind Fred Meyer area. If folks are familiar with that as you're headed out on Kent Kingley towards Ravensdale. But crews stayed busy with all kinds of projects. We also, like our other communities in Southeast King County, development didn't seem to slow down. We ended up issuing 867 building permits last year. And currently under construction is the new Maple Valley Logistics, which is also will be the home of the new Amazon distribution. It's in the old Hayes pit. And that's going to provide somewhere between 600 and 800 jobs in multiple shifts for our community. So we're really excited about that new development coming into town. You know, Parks and Rec, it wasn't the best year for them. Parks and Rec professionals, our crew, they spend their entire career trying to bring people together, and COVID forced them to try to keep people apart. But we also found out how important our parks were through COVID and how people just needed to get outside. So our city partnered with Park RX America. So we're now connected to that website, which is really awesome. We tried out drive-in movies this year, which is super successful. Our community loved them. So we're actually going to keep them post-COVID in our rotation, but just really got a lot of use. And I was really proud of our Parks Department for how they shifted and made some fun activities for our community. Community Resource Coordinator is a new position in the city. We're partnering with the Tahoma School District to really look for how can we better meet that mental health need in our community. How can we bring resources to our community? And wow, she came in mid last year in the middle of COVID when it was just the need was so great and has done amazing work already. We did our first annual Kindness Connects Maple Valley. It was a month-long community outreach. We had a deck of cards with different sayings. We put them on reader boards around town. We've created a Counselor's Corner blog for folks to, some different tips. And we also partnered with the school district on a Goodbye 2020, Hello 2021. And we had 97 people. Tickets sold, it was free, but you got a ticket. And then as of March this year, the YouTube video had nearly 200 views as well. And the survey results from our community was just really, really positive, and they're hungry for more of that. Like the other cities, our emergency management team stayed super focused. Well, team of one, Shauna Lee Rice on here, Shauna Lee, sorry, and stayed super active and connected to Covington and Black Diamond, a lot of coordination. But in the midst of that, also got our hazard mitigation plan approved right in the midst of that as well. Internal committees. We heard Covington talk about their diversity, equity, inclusion work. We also created a REACH committee. It's Respect, Equity, Accountability, Community, and Hope. And that's an internal, so our city is really focused on that internal work of how do we look at our own internal policies and procedures, and how do we address that diversity, equity, and inclusion in-house. And then our hope is to roll some of those, the framework and out to the rest of our community. So we're really excited about that work. We also have a wellness committee that does work to volunteer around the community. They do litter picks and volunteer at the Elk Run farm for picking vegetables. So really proud of our staff for that. So again, just so many things to be proud of, such great accomplishments over the year despite COVID. But you know, we also had CARES Act funding like the rest. We had $1.2 million, 557,000 of that went to small business grants. So proud of our council for helping them. We also provided funds to our food bank, My Maple Place, the Greater Maple Valley Community Center, Camp Wild 2.0 program. We actually did some day camps for students, for families who were struggling to find a balance when their kids couldn't go to in-person school. And then the remainder was spent on city expenditures. And in the midst of that, we rolled out our new brands. I don't know if you noticed on the agenda, we have a new logo, a new tagline. So we're really excited about that. You'll start seeing our signs change and things shift, but we're really proud. You know, it's a natural fit. Maple Valley is about being outside and really experiencing the outdoors. So it fits really nicely. So where are we going? Some things to highlight is that we're going to be spending some time over this next year, really, you know, how do we heal? How do we share the American recovery funds? How are we going to support local business recovery and human services? Our community resource coordinator, as I mentioned, you know, she's really going to be increasing programming and working with the school district to do outreach for providing those mental health resources for our community. And you know, events, we're so excited to get back to events. Maple Valley loves their events. And so this weekend, or not this weekend, but June 5th coming up soon, Lake Wilderness Triathlon is going to occur. And then in September, we have our big Ironman, which I'm sure you all see on the agenda. I'll tell you more about that later. But, you know, our drive-in movies, music at the park, just a lot of fun things. Maple Valley Days had to cancel this year for their June event, but they're scheduling an event in October. So we're make sure you keep your eye out for that event. And then our normal fishing derby shifted, and the Chamber of Commerce did a really fun, like week-long virtual fishing derby, and had a lot of fishermen out there still enjoying the lake and our beautiful park. We have some more stuff going on in development as well. Our planning commission is working hard to complete the downtown design standards and guidelines with our city council. So that area is just north of our Four Corners and south of the Legacy site. And then we just are, the other thing you know, our team has done such an amazing job is they've pivoted our entire permitting system to online. So we plan to continue that online service going forward, so to provide that level of customer service for folks. And of course, capital projects. You know, we're going to continue to partner and participate in the aquatic center that is going to be on the agenda later today. As well as some road construction. We are working on a roundabout design on Whitty Road. A portion of that is under construction now. And then we, here on this middle graphic here shows the location of the new Amazon site. So we will have a new connection that provides connection for the neighborhoods to get to Highway 18 and get out to 169 and avoid some of the existing congestion. While we're continuing to do design work on the widening of 169, we'll be continuing to widen 169 for many years to come. And then, you know, that's not all. We are still working on what is our new golf course clubhouse going to look like. We're working on the legacy site. The farmers market's not it. There's lots more planned for the legacy site. And then public art. You know, Regan talked about the importance of public art. It is very important and exciting. And so on the widening project we have on 169, if you've driven through Maple Valley, you'll see there's a very large wall, which artists see as a big giant canvas. So on that large canvas, they have a plan, and we're working with an artist right now who's putting together these beautiful pieces of steel artwork that will be attached to the wall. And here's a schematic of what it's going to look like. So we're very excited for that showcase piece of artwork. And with that, I'll turn it over for questions.
Did you want to stop sharing your screen so we can?
I'm working on it. The mouse is moving slow, sorry.
So if we don't have any questions, I'll move on to the Aquatic Recreation Center. Regan, were you going to do that presentation?
No, I'm not. I believe our consultant is actually here with us.
Oh, okay.
Going to do that introduction.
This is Ethan Newton. I'm the Parks and Recreation Director for the City of Covington. I don't want to take up too much of the time tonight, but I'll introduce our consultant, Rustin Hall, who is with ALSC. And we've been working with them to really be the lead on this feasibility study. And with that, Rustin will explain more as to what we've been doing. And Rustin, go ahead and take it away.
Excellent. I'll start sharing my screen here. Can everyone see that okay?
We can see it, Rustin. It looks good.
Okay, perfect. Well, good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Mayor Benson, Wagner, Kelly, all of the council members and professional staff. I have to tell you, this is really exciting to see three communities working together at this level. I don't see this that often, and it excites me because that's the kind of collaboration and momentum that's going to take to continue to move this study into a reality. So thank you for the time. My name's Rustin Hall. I'm a principal with ALSC Architects. And what I'd like to do is spend 10 minutes giving you a little bit more awareness of what this study, the feasibility study for the Indoor Recreation Aquatics and Recreation Center is all about, where we are in that process. And then at the end, save a few minutes for your questions. So with that, gonna just share quickly our team structure. I'm the team lead for the feasibility team. So the ALSC bubble, that's me and my team internally here. You can see there's a number of different specialty consultants. These are complex studies to complete. We've got Desitel Heggie doing the public outreach planning, education piece, Ballard King doing economic analysis, and economic impact, operations costs. Campbell and Company and Eco Northwest helping us on the funding side, both on the private and the public side, for looking for the potential for funding opportunities. WTI is a national, international aquatic consultant, giving us good insights there. And then finally, CBRE and Kaufman engineers helping us identify and do some initial analysis on different potential sites around your region to place a facility like this. Obviously, we are working directly with the core planning group, which is made up of Ethan Newton and Dave Johnson, Matthew Kehoe, who's been our wonderful project administrator, balancing all of this. It's a huge job. And others from both communities in Covington and Maple Valley, really helping us push this forward. And in our amazing steering committee, there's 15 community members from all over your region, representing all three of the cities on this call and the region at large there. They've been a wonderful asset, hugely engaged in this, and truly are steering just a great process here. And of course, we're all reporting back to city councils on our progress. So that's our structure. The outcomes for tonight, really just, again, a quick overview of what we've been doing and some of the outcomes thus far. What's ultimately results of some of that outreach, which has been pretty extensive and certainly a challenge given none of us have done this in a pandemic before. So we'll share some on that. Going to share what some of those tangible results have been from all of that outreach. Looking at the building program, some very initial images of what a facility like this might be, certainly not designed yet, but just to give you an impression and generate some buzz, some excitement for the project. Talk a little bit about our site analysis and then just public involvement and really the purpose of why you do a facility like this in a community. This graphic really quickly shows an overall lengthy process of going from what do we want, what is feasible all the way through to a grand opening for a new facility. But it starts with feasibility. Is it feasible or not? That's the basic fundamental question. And that's not an easy one to answer. It takes months of work. We're nearing completion on our feasibility study. We're looking at August to be wrapped up and looking to that next phase of development. After feasibility, you go into that design to really understand what it is that you're trying to sell and attract funding for, because you've got a campaign to run and a stack of funds to acquire in order to move it to the next stages. Once that's in place, you permit it, you build it, then you open it. So I make that sound so easy, don't I? It takes years potentially to accomplish this entire lineage of activities, but we're off to a very, very good start with the feasibility study. So talking about the outreach program for a minute, we started our outreach last summer and we're still doing it. And it's been pretty amazing. It's been frustrating at times, but we've invented some new ways of gaining input when we cannot gather. We're used to having, true public workshops with everyone in attendance. We've gone to virtual workshops. We started that process with a statistically valid phone survey, which is really the only truly quantifiable means of collecting data from a scientific standpoint. And we did that last summer. And since that time, we've been spending time truly trying to validate those findings to make sure that what we heard truly is representative of what your community members want and what their perceptions are of what their indoor aquatic and recreation facility needs to be, what it needs to do, the functions and programs that it needs to house. We've done hundreds of interviews with people beyond the phone survey. I've got a couple of statistics here that are really pretty interesting. We started doing some streaming and some video work, and similar to what was reported earlier, we had 93,000 impressions, and of that, about 40,000 were reached. So those are two different numbers, but basically what that says is there's a lot of people in your community that are aware of what this project, where it is and what it's becoming. What's continuing on with our outreach is trying to get reactions to the work that's been completed so far. And that's going to continue even after this study is completed, because you're going to want to continue the buzz and that momentum and create truly a grassroots effort at the citizens level, hopefully driven by your steering committee as ambassadors to keep this going. And reactions, what do you think? What do you think? How can we do this better? What's missing? Just keep testing what the feasible idea has been. This is a very quick, very brief look at what we call our building program. In architectural terms, that's just simply, here's the list of the spaces needed to facilitate the types of activities that your citizens have identified as being needed in an indoor aquatic and recreation facility. This is our first test. What we need to do with this now that we've assembled it, and we've been getting really good feedback that yes, this does appear to be what a good reflection of what the community has been responding with in terms of their needs. You can see down here at the bottom, we're at about 88,000 square feet. Can we afford that? That's where we are in the study right now. Some of those toughest questions we are still working on answering. That's what's really remaining in the study. We can figure out what the construction cost is, but there's no point in doing that until we validate that we can afford this size of a facility based on all the other financial studies that are happening. So You know, what does it cost to operate? What does it cost to maintain? What do we charge people? All of those things are still at play. And here in the next month or so, we're going to start having pretty good solid answers to those. And what that ultimately results in is a program like this may end up needing to be phased. This is maybe an ultimate number, and anything that we do is going to be designed to be expanded. But in the initial phases here, we are going to work this down to what is feasible, because that's really the question. It's yes or no. What is it feasible or not? And so we're getting very close to being having that fundamental answer in place. Now, we've put together some images based on that program. And again, I would just immediately qualify what you're looking at. These are artistic impressions, just to give you some sort a notion of magnitude. I'm not saying it has to look like this. It could look like this. It may look like something completely different, but it starts to at least get it in the ballpark and get people excited and talking about it. It's a little more tangible than just a bunch of numbers on a chart. And it really starts to capture, I think, the imaginations of people, and they can start imagining, yeah, I could see myself and my family using this. Some different views. The previous one was looking at the natatorium, the enclosed swimming pools, competition pool on one side, recreational leisure pool on the other side. This is what a main entrance might look like, with a large entrance plaza that could hold all kinds of different public events. And also you can kind of start seeing into the building before you ever get into it. So that excitement starts to build before you could ever even walk in the door. Once you get inside, this is a very dynamic potential space. You're going to see lobby areas that also become functional areas for all kinds of different events. The whole idea is absolute maximized flexibility. For every dollar spent here, there's so many different ways it can be used, and different boxes that we'll check in terms of community recreation. You can see into the pool area in this one. You can see all the way down to the other end of the building. Gymnasium, multi-purpose, huge spaces to the left side. Then up above, that green line is actually a huge walking running track. That came out of our programming and our steering committee meetings about how important that function is to bring inside. So it's 365, you know, all day and well into the evening. And it's also very safe. So anyone that wants to take on that kind of an activity, it ought to be something that's a little more than just an oval around a basketball court. So in this particular idea, it can wander all through the building. Moving on to some of the other study components of this, again, touching briefly on this, part of it is the market analysis. And what Ballard King, our consultant, has done is identified primary and secondary service areas, which then starts to support the demographic studies that are done, all part of building the entire package of a feasibility report, including the area. That's about, let's see, where is my number? That's about 180 square miles in that secondary, you know, pink oval there. The green area in the center is the city boundaries for the cities of Covington and Maple Valley. But obviously, this is a regional facility. And the big driver on this larger circle was actually travel time, trying to minimize that. If it gets beyond about 15 to 20 minutes to get there, you start losing the support that you need really to build it and then to operate it. Part of the feasibility study is also dealing with sites. And this feasibility study is not going to basically crank out at the end, here is your site. The idea has been to study numerous sites, and the basic question is, do you have feasible sites? Because if you don't, that challenges a feasibility study in a big way. The good news is there's lots of viable sites, and they're spread out. And the idea that has come out of all of this study is, let's learn from the available sites that we have and build a very well-defined criteria list, so that when the time is right in the future to use a site or to acquire a site, to develop a site, that it's already been done. The hard work is done in figuring out that evaluation, and then it's just testing those criteria in different locations. As you know, real estate, it changes every day. And so as long as you have that good set of criteria, and it's basics, access, safety, development costs vary pretty widely. The adjacent uses are critically important because some places just certainly are going to have a synergy and an activity level that are more suitable to a recreation center than others. Connectivity to trails, bike, pedestrian, vehicular access as well. Potential for shared parking, shared amenities, efficient use of public dollars. So lots of things to think about there, as well as expandability. As I said, we may start with a phase one that's small and affordable, but it's already pre-planned that's going to continue to grow as the community grows and as more funding possibly becomes available there. So with that, the basic question is why? Why do this? Thankfully, the state funded this feasibility study, and you have to look at all the benefits of this, and that's why our particular team likes to do this kind of work. Community centers are just that. They create a new heart in a community, and it transcends boundary lines of cities. It comes back to people and families, and it goes way beyond just health. There's the obvious health benefits and preventative measures. And when you recreate your body, you're recreating and you're preventing those kinds of things. But it goes well beyond that. There's that sense of community pride that comes along with these kinds of facilities. The social and equity benefits. This is going to have something literally for everyone. That's the beautiful thing about this. Everyone can get engaged here, regardless of really anything. They will have a place here. And the economic benefits are huge. This will be the place to be. These kinds of things will attract people from outside the area. They will raise property values. They generate more business. And again, it's just a great, healthy addition to a community. So we're very, very hopeful that this does pan out as a very feasible study. I'm not here to try to create a building for somebody. I'm here to see what's feasible and what is in the best interest of you and your communities and really the whole region there. We're very, very excited where we are in the process. Everything has gone really well. The validation process has gone very consistently. We do have a good program that's reflective of your community. Now it's going to be, can we afford it? And then next steps, getting your community directly involved. It's been very difficult in the pandemic to measure engagement. And we are still struggling with that to some degree, just because we can't really gather and read the body language and celebrate together yet. But that's coming. And as soon as that does, the end of the pandemic is going to be perfect with this feasibility study coming out. Let's hit the ground running and make this happen. So we are super excited. Again, I'm honored to be here this evening to share this with you and be happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Councilmember Oglesby.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, thank you, Rustin Hall. That was a beautiful presentation, and I'm just, gosh, you got all my exciting bugs going inside of me here. I think that what a great community outreach, what a great way to get the community together. I mean, that just speaks to all my love strings. So my big question is, as much as I'm a small town Maple Valley girl, grew up there, Four Corners, played in Covington, but now reside in Black Diamond, what's the possibility of bringing that closer to our city?
I would say really that there's every possibility. Again, there's no set specific site that's really going to come out of this study. But we're going to be very clear on what a good attractive site is, and that's going to enable more and more of that conversation in that process. So I would never say never.
Thank you.
So thank you, Rustin. I appreciate your presentation. Regan, were you going to do the presentation on Highway 18?
Yes, I will do that. You ready for that, Carol?
Oh, did I miss something on the agenda? Oh, I forgot the Iron Man. Oh, sorry.
That's important and more exciting than my 18 presentation.
Laura, you have the floor.
I thought, wow, we're gonna skip the Ironman. Yeah, thank you very much, Mayor Benson. I'm happy to. So let me share my screen again. All right. So yeah, we're super excited about hosting Ironman. So I'm going to start out and tell you a little bit about what Ironman is and who they are. So it is a worldwide premium competitive event. They started as a single race in 1978, and now they are worldwide with the ultimate goal to make your way to Kona in the World Championship event. They have multiple brands. They have Ironman is connected with multiple triathlon brands running. Many of you may recognize the Rock and Roll Marathon Series, mountain bike events, cycling. Show a really quick video if it pulls up. Just another second. If it doesn't, I'll.
You know I'm back, like I never left. Another sprint, another step, another day, another breath. Been chasing dreams, but I never slept. I got a new attitude and a lease on life is a peace of mind. Seeking to find I can sleep when I die. Want a piece of the pie, got the keys to the ride and shit. I'm straight. I'm on my way. Get up my way. I'm running late. What can I say? I heard you died twice. Once when they bury you in the grave, and the second time is the last time that somebody mentions your name. So when I leave here on this earth, did I take more than I gave? Did I look out for the people, or did I do it all for fame? Legend is Exodus, searching for euphoria, trudging through the mud to find the present, no ignoring. I got 20,000 deep off in the street like we some warriors. My mama told me never bow your head. Whoa.
I feel glorious, glorious. Got a chance to start again. I was born for this, born for this. It's who I am, how could I forget? I made it through the darkest part of the night, and now I see the sunrise. Now I feel glorious, glorious. I feel glorious, glorious. We gon' be alright, put that on my life. When I open my eyes, hope I see you shine. We're planting our flag, they don't understand. The world is up for grabs. Glorious, glorious. I feel glorious, glorious.
Hope you all feel super inspired now and can't wait to race, right? But really, it just really is just shows you how this is just a huge, huge community. And this shows the global footprint of the brand, showing you how connected this is worldwide. And the digital reach for the Ironman brand is really 6.4 million people. So when Maple Valley's on the map, it's putting King County, it's putting Southeast King County, and Washington on the map, literally across the world. So we're just super excited about the eyes on our area. The core consumer product, the average annual household income, and this is actually a couple of years old, is $247,000, and the average split is 32% female, 68% male, 40 years old, 92 university educated. So you can really see that the folks we're bringing into town really they have some money to spend at our businesses. The other thing that's really cool about bringing an event like this to town is that 44% of the participants actually influence decisions at their place of employment. And we've heard stories of businesses where somebody goes to race and they say, business owners, they say, I really like that community. I really like that space, and move their businesses there, or they open another business. So we think there's, you know, some economic engine that with that as well. But really what's happening, this is happening. We brought it to Southeast King County. We have the only Ironman event in Washington that's happening in Maple Valley on September 19th, 2021. It was supposed to happen last fall for the inaugural, but with COVID, like everything else, it got pushed back a year. So a little bit about the folks that are signed up. There's 2,780 people signed up for the event on September 19th. Just shy of 40% of them are female, so we're beating the average. So more women are participating in this event than their average events, which is kind of exciting. This little heat map shows that we have a lot of local athletes coming, which is fun. But we also have folks signed up, and again, it's going to depend on what the travel restrictions and how things are working. But we have folks scheduled to come from United Kingdom, from Mexico. So we could potentially really see some great, you know, a lot of new visitors in our community. But what's the course look like? Well, the swim itself is 1.2 miles, and it is in our park, Lake Wilderness Park, in our lake. So it'll swim essentially the whole lake to make the 1.2 miles. And then when the athletes get out of the water, then they'll go on a bike course. And the bike course is going to start out in Maple Valley, but then head into unincorporated King County, back through Black Diamond. So thank you, Black Diamond, for your partnership and helping us with this. We couldn't do it without you. It'll make its way back out to unincorporated King County again through Enumclaw, and loop back around and make its way back into Maple Valley again, back to the park, where once in the park, athletes will then switch into their running shoes and head out on the King County Cedar to Green, and then Cedar to Green and Cedar River Trail. So we're also working closely with King County Parks to make that happen. So and then once they finish, they come back to the park for a grand finish line. But how are we communicating all this? You saw the bike course. It's pretty 56 miles. It's covering a lot of our streets. Well, we have a robust communication plan that'll start rolling out in July and get a little bit more aggressive in August. And we actually, our bike course goes by on a Sunday in front of a number of churches. So we've already started working with the churches along the route really closely, and they're prepared to share messaging and with all of their congregations. We're able to work with the Ironman group to actually pinpoint the exact hours down to probably within 10 minutes of the impact to them. Working with the business community, Chamber of Commerce has been extremely helpful. And then we'll also be providing advance notice through personal interactions to any businesses that will have significant impact. And then residents all along the course and anywhere in any of our cities, we will have reader boards out, flyers, and lots of social media pushes. We are having an informational meeting in July on the 19th, where we're inviting our public to come and ask questions and learn more. So you're more than welcome to attend that as well. And to miss the link on here for the volunteer opportunity, there are lots of opportunities to volunteer. So if you're not feeling up to swim, bike, run, you can join our city council and volunteer for all kinds of different things, including passing out water to the athletes. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Question.
Councilmember Parnello.
Thank you, Mayor. Laura, can you confirm or deny the rumor that Brandy Carlisle, Benicio Bryant, and Macklemore will be forming a team and racing in the event, or will they just be performing?
I cannot confirm that.
Oh, okay. It was a rumor. I wasn't sure. So thank you. Appreciate it. Do you know anybody that's participating in the event? I don't know if. I won't
do
waste
know a
any time.
couple
I'm joking.
people. Okay, there is 3 people on the screen right now that I can see that are part of. Actually, I think there might be 4, but
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to waste time.
Councilmember Porter.
Hi, thank you, Mayor Benson. So question that I have, and I, haven't really been privy to any of the logistics of this, but do you have any information about how many people already have accommodations? What is going to be done to accommodate all these people, and when they plan on rolling into town? Because I imagine they're going to probably be here Friday and hang out for a couple days in our beautiful region.
Yeah.
And are we? Yeah. Will we continue to help support that, or maybe increase visibility and collaboration on that part?
Yeah, great question. So we've been working with the city of Renton because they have the number of hotels necessary to accommodate. So Regan, once you get those hotels built next to the movie theater, let us know.
Trying.
But we are working with the city of Renton to accommodate the folks. And then obviously people will find other accommodations elsewhere. I imagine some people will stay in Seattle or Auburn and maybe even Issaquah. And then once athletes will probably get here Thursday or Friday, they will have to check in early. You have to turn your bike in on Saturday before the race. So they have to be here early. But many athletes like to come early. They like to review the course. They like to get acclimated. So you will see athletes and spectators at businesses all throughout here. You'll see probably Black Diamond, you're probably seeing a lot of people doing the training route and riding through your community. There's a lot of people following the route and training right now.
Well, I'm also wondering, is like hosting an athlete or a family something that's being talked about, or is that an option?
So that's not, I haven't seen, and I'm not 100% sure how that would connect, but if folks wanted to connect with me, I can bring that up with Ironman and see if there's any opportunities or venues for that.
Great, thanks.
Okay, Regan, are you ready for Highway 18 now?
Mayor, I think Councilmember Oglesby had another question.
Oh, I didn't see her hand up. Sorry, Councilmember Oglesby.
Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. Mayor sounds nice. I don't think I've ever run for mayor, but thank you, Christiana. I'm really excited for this event and for our communities. I think this is just a great opportunity for our city to host such a beautiful, large event. And I don't want to add any more to it, but I also want to remind our 3 cities and reaching out to our Enumclaw city that we do have another large event on our docket, which is the moving wall, the Veterans Moving Wall that's going to be coming into Enumclaw, which will bring lots of thousands and thousands of people as well. But what a great opportunity for our small communities to host these grand events, and just look so forward to, helping out. And I do love Councilmember Porter's idea of maybe hosting families and athletes to our homes if we can, and how we can help out and reach out to them to provide a safe place for them to stay while they're doing their athlete in triathlon.
Well, my son will be staying with me.
And participating.
So, Regan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm sorry we have to go from the exciting triathlon to talk about a road, but anyway, we'll do it, so no problem. This is a quick Highway 18 update of what's happening, because there is a lot that's been happening, and I'll start with a couple of years ago with CLTC, or as a mouthful, the Southeast Area Legislative Transportation Coalition. Right? If you can say that, give yourself a little reward or something. But a couple of years ago, this whole partnership started between our 3 cities and our respective chambers. So it's really kind of cool to see where it's gone. We started meeting monthly, and eventually this group expanded by adding Issaquah, Snoqualmie, North Bend, the Snow Valley Chamber, Eastside Fire, Puget Sound Regional Fire Authority, the Snoqualmie Tribe, and a couple of others. So really formed this great regional partnership. So together, once we were kind of discussing, okay, what's our mission? What do we really want to accomplish? We thought we need to have a singular focus. And we thought that should be Highway 18. That's the project we should focus on. With part of Highway 18 being funded in the I-90 interchange project, we focused on the remaining portion, which was from Issaquah Hobart Road to Raging River. So a couple of years ago, when we first got on this, we thought, well, we need to meet with WashDOT and get going. And Laura and I went and met with WashDOT, and they gave us some projections that that project would cost $285 million. When we first got that price tag, of course, I thought, that's a lot of money, right? That's a big ask that we've got to start working on. So we put together a plan. We started lobbying. In 2019, we were awarded $26 million for design and right-of-way. So $7 million of that was from the 2019 to 21 biennium, and then $19 million from the 21-23 biennium. So fast forwarding now to 2021, we started lobbying and pushing again. CLTC got at it. And in the process, we discovered that WashDOT's estimate had increased to $774 million. So that's a $490 million increase in 2 years. If you're thinking, how could that possibly happen in 2 years? You're not alone. We were in that same boat, but there it is. So we started working with our legislators, and it was felt that we could probably skim that project down to be about a $500 million cost. So that's the number we started pushing for. During this 2021 legislative session, we met with many legislators on the House and Senate Transportation Committees and others. I know Maple Valley was really helpful in that, and Mayor Wagner and others were testifying at hearings. We had individual meetings with legislators, and Black Diamond was involved, and we've all been really pushing for this, and the other partners with CLTC. Originally, this money was not included in the transportation packages that were being developed, but Representative Ramos, Senator Mollett, they were really instrumental, and we had a lot of support from our other legislators. And eventually, both the House and Senate transportation packages included $500 million for this widening project, which was great. However, as we all know, those packages did not pass this legislative session, but it teed us up for greater success in future years. So as they sit, we've got $500 million in those packages, and once they can get across the finish line, I think we'll be good to go. And really, when you think about it, and I think this epitomizes why we're here tonight with this partnership. 3 years ago, when we started meeting, there were $0 planned for this project. And now we've got legislators agreeing on $500 million, which is amazing. It started with a few of us sitting down in a room thinking, how can we better influence transportation projects in Covington? So that's where we're at. That's the update on Highway 18, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know Laura could answer them as well.
Just comment, if I may.
Yeah.
So I think, Regan, you said it really well. This is the marathon part of this job. I mean, some of us joked about not remembering how long you've been doing it, and some have been doing it a long time. But we also had some newer folks here, and I guess the words I would share here is that, you know, this is going to be one of the most rewarding things that any of us are ever going to accomplish if we actually get this done while we're still involved, or even if it happens after we're done. I mean, it's really difficult to go down year after year and month after month, talk to your legislators and still get the no. But as you said, working together, we're making progress, and this is huge. We just need to keep leaning into it. So thank you to everybody for your hard work on it.
Well, and I've been a member of South County Transportation Committee for 10 years, and they actually, the last 2 years, have put it on their legislative agenda too, which supports the whole region, that everybody wants to have this project done. And I think it's, we put a lot of hard work into it. So we have no further items. Oh, excuse me, Councilmember Dawson.
Thank you. I just wanted to add on to that. It was something that Mayor Kelly mentioned earlier this week in our council meeting about the importance of relationships. And Highway 18 is one that relationship building and is key. It's not just for, with our local legislators, but it also involves legislators on the other side of the mountains. It involves, people in Tacoma, because they all benefit from Highway 18 in some way. And so when we go, when Regan talks about going down to Olympia to lobby for this, it's also not just talking with our local representatives, but it involves people from all over the state. So remembering those relationships is really important for a big project like this.
So mayors, this is the completion of our program today. So not seeing any other further business.
One thing really quick, Mayor Benson, just everybody can smile, look at the picture, because I want to get a picture of the Tri-City meeting. So smile and look like we're having fun.
Okay, and I'll adjourn this meeting. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Hey, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you, Carol. Good job.
Thank you.